How is this feeling so far? Good? Good. Do you get a lot of adventures? I imagine so. Oh, so your family sort of takes control of a lot of the bridges, and then you end up having a monopoly on all of the bridges going in and out of town? Okay, totally. I mean, I would do that if I were you. I'm not you, but that totally makes sense, yeah. Hi, so, yeah, you're sort of standing there, and there is a bridge that I would like to cross. Is it okay if I cross? No, it's not okay if I cross. Okay, well, uh, you know, as an adventurer, I'm a little bit familiar when it comes to, your sort of vibe, the thing that you end up doing to a lot of adventures. So I would prefer if that didn't happen to me. I would rather not die today. So, is there anything that I could personally do to help you? You're a terrifying, bridge troll. You strike fear into the hearts of many men and many women and many adventurers. And I'd be very, very curious if there's anything that you find is a little bit lacking in your skills and expertise. Okay. So you need to look. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, you need to look a little bit uglier for the job, right? Because I'm looking at you, and you're quite massive, you're quite tall, but you're very beautiful, and that won't do in the profession of, a bridge troll, right? You need to scare people into giving you gold. And I will give you gold, but I kind of don't have any. So if I give you sort of an ugly makeover, do you think that would be okay for us? Okay, yeah, we can totally do that. Okay, so first of all, I think that we need to first address the elephant in the room, which is your skin. It's a little too glowing. It's like very bright, very shiny, very clear, and we don't want that, right? So I do have with me, I brought it in my adventurers pack. I do have a bit of tea for you. This tea is infused with perhaps, it's infused with a bit of poison. Now, I'm not trying to kill you or anything, but I am trying to make you have a reaction, right? So I'm going to have a little bit of tea, put it in this teapot for you. And from there, just pour in this tea. Yeah, and I'm giving you everything that I got, so I'm just pouring the whole thing in there. Hopefully that's okay. Okay. All right, and then you just need to drink this, and in a little bit of time, you'll have very ugly, terrible skin. Whatever you think is terrible skin, that's what you'll have. Okay, so just take a huge sip. Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Okay. We've got the skin on the way, okay? So, next thing that we're going to have to do, we can deal with some of this with makeup, but I do think that we need to deal with a few specific things. You're going to have a few rashes and irritations from the tea, but I think that there are some aspects, like you're a little bit covered in mud, right? And as a bridge troll, I imagine that being covered in mud is, sort of all well and good, and whatnot. But I would think that removing the mud would reveal the hidden ugliness underneath, right? And, you don't want to hide your ugliness. I think your ugliness is beautiful. And what's more beautiful than being ugly, right? So let's just go ahead. I'm going to... Again, in my adventurers pack, I always bring with me some cotton pads to help. You never know, as a rogue, that I do have to disguise myself a lot of times, and all these items sort of help with that. I do end up casting Disguise Self, sort of like a spell that I sometimes use, but you do sort of need a lot of materials for it anyway, so sometimes it's just not worth it. If I can just do it myself, then it's really not a big deal, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and remove some of the mud, okay? So just, there we go. Yeah, and I really need to take this off because I can see, you know, it's like peeling off a layer of mud and revealing sort of like reddened, crusty skin underneath, you know? Yeah, very unwashed. Amazing. To be honest, I think one of the best skin types for the ugly approach. So how long have you been a bridge troll? Okay, it's a family business. I see. So it's like I see. So your father and your father before you, and then your mother before him, and then you know, father, and then just a whole family business sort of situation. How wonderful. Wonderful. Do you have a business name? I hear that you need to have a very trendy business name to be all the rage. Okay, not really. I see. Okay, just get it. Okay, how is this feeling so far? Good? Good. Do you get a lot of adventures? I imagine so. Oh, so your family sort of takes control of a lot of the bridges, and then you end up having a monopoly on all of the bridges going in and out of town? Okay, totally. I mean, I would do that if I were you. I'm not you, but that totally makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. So every time someone leaves, you take a little bit of, through intimidation, you take a little bit of gold, sort of like a toll. Yes, a troll toll. Wow. You know what? You can have that. So this troll toll, do you find that the uglier you are, the more money you get? Okay, yeah, it's like a very direct, like 1-to-1. Okay, well, I'm getting close here to finishing all of this. I need your forehead here. So if I can just... Okay, that's good. I think that's pretty good. Okay. Here. Okay. Perfect. I think that's really good. Okay. So how are you feeling? Yes, I sort of revealed a lot of redness, and redness with sort of your green skin sort of creates a sort of Christmassy effect, but in sort of the worst way possible. And I think that's wonderful. So next thing that we're going to do, I think that I have a little bit of some ointments and stuff, but first out, there's a powder I want to put on you, okay? And what this is going to do is, again, with the skin irritations and stuff, but instead, you know how a lot of the times, and this is, sort of a secret from the rogue, like, there is sort of the Rogues Guild, the Thieves Guild in particular, are very keen on not letting people know about this, but I do fear for my life from you, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that we do have a certain kind of powder that gives you fine lines. It's sort of like you put the powder on, gives you fine lines, and then when you take it off, it's not there anymore. And so this is going to be slightly like makeup-y, but if you let it sit in the skin long enough, the fine lines will settle in place, and you won't have to worry about it anymore. So this here it looks like a wooden stick, but the powder is sort of coated all along it. I'm going to need to get it all over your body. So this is a perfect tool to scrape off some of it. Catching what I'm thinking? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sort of with your lower half because that's sort of eye level with me. And then I'm going to work my way up. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm just going to... There you go. And see, I'm just sort of scraping some of the powder onto you. Yeah? Okay. Perfect. Yeah, and just make sure to give me each limb, right? So if you give me your arm, I'll be able to make that uglier as well. Perfect. You know, it's very wonderful that you have such a thriving family business. Is it normal in sort of troll culture to take over from your family? You know, when it comes to sort of elves, right? We also take a lot of stock into the family name and sort of family lineage, but some elves have this thing called angst. I don't know if you've heard of it. You know, I don't know if trolls really experience angst, but it will cause them to do really crazy things, like try to find themselves. You know, try to go on an adventure and find their own identity. I don't do that. My adventuring is all about carrying out specific goals, specific missions. I need to get to this town because I have a target, and I need to. You know what? This is too much information for you. Yeah. So, in your troll culture, do you think that you have angst? Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know, it's a very human thing to have angst, right? I guess it's a very human thing to beg for your life as well, but that's not the only thing that makes something human, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, there you go. Okay, so we're doing this, and let me try and get your shoulders here now, because we got a lot of your lower body, but we need to do your upper body here. There you go. So getting your shoulders here, over here on this side. So, I mean, I have not talked to many trolls before, so excuse my ignorance, but if this is your main way of making money with your troll toll, what do you spend your money on aside from like groceries, right? Because you don't spend money on groceries. Oh, the troll toll encompasses sort of like food as well. Interesting. So what do you use gold for? You eat it. Interesting. So that gold is your food? Interesting. I suppose this wasn't really smart of the other races to make your food into money, like our currency, right? You know, I'll have to take this up with the magistrate, but honestly, I don't think he'll listen to me. You know, I may be an important member of the Thieves Guild, but when has the magistrate listened to the Thieves Guild? He only talks to us when he needs a target taken or an item stolen. Which, by the way, I heard, and you might need to know this. I heard that they're trying to make the town into more of a tourist destination, which is truly wonderful, except for the fact that they're having us in the Thieves Guild go around and steal a lot of artifacts from totally different nations that have nothing to do with us. And, you know, they have this random excuse of like, oh, they don't know how to take care of their artifacts. We'll take it and we'll take care of it by putting it in our museum. And then we'll charge them to come to us, come to the troll bridge, and then go and come look at it at the museum. And I think it's what people call a tourist trap. But you know what? I think it's a very nasty business. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we need to reach the upper part of your body, your head, right? You're very tall and very big, so I'm going to have to extend this. So I'm just going to reach up high and okay. I'd like a few dustings, nothing too bad here. So just stay still for me, please. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Great. I think you did a wonderful job. Now we've got that dusting in, all of the fine lines. You're showing your age, and it's really interesting. I think as a society, we think the people who get older are uglier, but I really don't think that's the case. But, you know, as a society, that's sort of what we view. So giving you fine lines to make you quote unquote uglier is not actually problematic, because it's actually just what society deems ugly. And I'm just the messenger, so just don't shoot the messenger. But anyway, next let's get into the more makeup-y aspects, okay? So I don't know if you've heard of makeup. It's a very wonderful invention. I believe a wizard by the name of Ulrich invented it in his wizard tower. I think her wizard tower. I don't know the gender, but Ulrich was a very interesting wizard because they were very good at creating different. They were very interested in being the most beautiful wizard, and so they created this thing called makeup. And I think it's because every time they had a partner, and every time that they broke up with the partner and they wanted to make back up, they would invent a new way of making themselves look more beautiful. And that way the partner would be like, well, I can't stay away from you because you're so beautiful. But regardless, let's add some splotchy foundation. Foundation, as you may know or may not know, is sort of the base of everything. It's a sort of... So realistically, foundation would blend into your skin to hide redness, hide spots. I mean, that's also partially what concealer is. Very fancy words. But what you need to know is that I'm using my skin tone foundation, and you are green, unfortunately. So what this is going to do is it's going to make you look a little bit sickly, right? And there's nothing scarier than something that's a little bit sickly, right? And you are going to be intimidating people, but you're going to look really imposing. But also they're going to have to think, if we engage with this person and like try to take a fight with them, then we might actually just catch the plague and die. And they don't want to take that risk, right? So let's just get some of this foundation. Let's see, and what I'm doing right now is very important to foundation. What it's called is the opening and closing of the cap. You know, Ulrich was a very, very eccentric fellow, or fellow. What's the gender neutral term for that? I don't know. But they were a very eccentric person. And what ends up happening is that if you don't do this, then the foundation just simply explodes into your skin and disintegrates your skull, which is really a no-go. But, you know, magic is a little bit strange like that. But, okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Now that should be good. So now I'm just going to put a little bit on this right here. This is a little bit of a sponge. Okay, are you ready? Okay. Perfect. Yeah, so I'm just adding a few splotchy spots, right? Okay. Perfect. Yeah, you're doing a great job. And thank you for kneeling down for me. That's very wonderful of you. Okay. So I've spoken about Ulrich's partner and whatnot, but do you have any partners? Okay, so not currently, but you are sort of on the lookout. Okay, well, there is, I do have a suggestion. If you end up getting a wizard's wand, you can then, through the Wizard Network, you're able to download this thing called, let me think. I think it's called something with flame. Tinder, I think is what it's called. So if you download that, you can then send out sort of magical information about yourself, and people can see if they're interested, you know? But I hear it's a very toxic culture in there. So I'd be a little bit careful, but you know, if you want to try your luck. Okay, is that good? Let's see. I think it needs a bit of finger, like, okay, just because it's a bit, we need sort of larger splotchiness, right? And I think it's a bit too dotted, so I'm just trying to, okay, yep, there we go. Perfect. Wonderful. Okay, so next up, we're going to work on, going to use this. This, of course, again, by Ulrich. But what's interesting about this is that this is going to be placed all around your face. There is a highlight and a bronzer. The bronzer in typical sort of beauty is going to help define your face. For you, I think that it'll help create sort of severe angles, because I think in our society, severe angles is considered bad for some reason. I think also depending on your gender, but I think for a troll, you're probably good to go with severe angles. And for the highlights, or not really highlights, but, well, I guess it's sort of like a highlight. What we will end up doing is that we'll put highlights in spots that are meant to be in shadow. What that's going to do is going to mix with the shadows really well. And by well, I mean really poorly, right? It's going to make you look uglier, in that, like, people are going to be confused as to you're lit or not lit, or you look like you're not in proper lighting, and it's going to unnerve them, right? So, and in Ulrich fashion, he wanted to make sure that this did not explode into your skin, so he needs me to open this just a few times. Okay. And then I have to go. Okay. Now we should be good to go. Okay. So I'm going to use the same little sponge. Just grab a little bit of it. We don't need much. You know, a little goes a long way. Okay. And so now I'm just going to try and create very severe angles on your nose, under your eyes, on your cheeks, as well as your forehead and chin, okay? So, okay, so that's under your eye here. Under your eye there. And then forehead. Okay. Cheek. Other cheek. Okay. And then chin. Jaw. Okay, perfect. And the nose here. Just want to make sure I get the nose. Okay, so one of the last things that we need to do here is we need to do the highlight, right? So thankfully this has two sides to it, so we use that side for the bronzer, and so now we're going to do a little bit of the highlight, and then after the highlight I have a little bit of a serum, so don't think you're done quite yet. Okay, so here, what we're going to do, I'm going to pat this in because I think that it's pretty important, okay? So I'm just going to pat it in to where I think the shadows should be to really unnerve a potential viewer who looks upon your visage, right? So be careful and, okay, and here. Okay, and then inside your lips. Okay. And the bottom of your nose. Okay, the tops right here, right below your brows. Okay, wonderful. And lastly, we need a little bit of a serum to help smooth everything together, right? Just so that it doesn't look too put on, right? So I have a little bit. This is a Thieves Guild sort of secret. This is not from the wizard Ulrich, of course. No, he didn't really care too much about serums. He worked more with like the foundation is not powder, but he worked mostly in powders. Okay. So I need you to stay still. I'm going to put a few drops. Actually, here, there we go. I just need you to be correctly angled for me, okay? So stay like that, and I'm going to put a drop in, and it's going to burn a little bit. That's totally normal. So I am going to give you a count, right? So that you have something to sort of understand, okay? So I'm just going to hold your face here. Okay, and 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, and then the other eye. Not eye, your other face. Not your other face, in the sense, I am getting a little bit, of your two-facedness, but what I'm trying to say is a few more drops on the same face. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, perfect. Wonderful. And with that, you are absolutely hideous. Wow, I think I did a really good job. Do you want a mirror? Okay, you have your own hand mirror, of course. Yeah, take your time. Yeah. Here, I can. Now that you stood back up, I can, help move your hair behind your ear so that you can get a better look. So, here you go. Let me just move that. Okay, just moving it. There we go, and then move your hair over here. There. How does it look? Wonderful. Perfect. So, will you let me through? Okay. Well, have a good one with your troll toll.